Well, we read bedtime stories here almost every evening, and there are many reasons why you should do the exact same thing with your family. With the acrostic Bedtime, I want you to know that, first of all, bedtime stories brings the family together. Instead of each member of the family living their own life, there's at least one time a day where everyone comes together and are as one. Well, the second thing that bedtime stories do is that they educate the family and cause them to add learning to their lips with the books that you will read and that you will glean much wisdom from. The Bible even says over here, I, Daniel, understood by books. That's how we get understanding, by books.
Bedtime stories delight the family. I can't wait until tonight.
Bedtime stories train the children to learn how to read and to be people who enjoy reading. Bedtime stories increase the imagination before sleeping. Now that she's heard all these wonderful tales of adventure, as she's sleeping, she's going to be having an active imagination and is going to be increasing in wisdom, even in her sleep. Bedtime stories also motivate the family to read more. The more you read, the more you like reading. And so if we read together all the time, you're going to find people in the family starting to devour books. And the final thing that bedtime stories do, if they don't do anything else, they exhaust the family and cause people who are maybe children too rowdy or mothers that never want to sleep to finally be able to fall asleep and have a deep sleep from the Lord. The Bible says that so he giveth his beloved sleep. It is bad enough when parents treat ordinary children as though they were scabs and bunions, but it becomes somehow a lot worse when the child in question is extraordinary. And by that I mean sensitive and brilliant. Matilda was both of these things, but above all, she was brilliant. Well, the great theme of the book Matilda that we're reading together as a family is that knowledge is power. Even Jesus said that there's a key of knowledge, that the false teachers, by telling people they had to do work to be saved, as opposed to telling them salvation is by faith, they were taking away the key of knowledge. The Bible says that wisdom is better than weapons of war, because when you have knowledge, when you have wisdom, you're able to do more than someone even who has brute force and power. And so in the book of Matilda, the really great theme is that Matilda is this young girl who is seeking knowledge, and she's someone who loves knowledge and therefore seeks to read a lot. It says in the book of Proverbs that you should get wisdom, get understanding. With all thy getting, get wisdom. Knowledge, wisdom, these things are the principal thing. And that's what the book's all about, isn't it?
Yep.
It's about this young girl who is born into this really wicked family. And she has to teach herself how to read because her parents don't have a single book around the house. They have newspapers here and there. But what do their parents have in their house?
A television.
A television. That's the one thing we don't have here. You see, this place is supposed to be the location where a television goes in this house. And that's what they told us when we were moving into this apartment, that here you can mount your TV. And we smiled and said, we don't watch TV. we read books. And that's what Matilda was like. That's what we want Modest to be like. Why? Because of the fact that we don't want to be brainwashed by the devil. The Bible tells us that the devil is the god of this world. He's the spirit that works in the children of disobedience. But you know what people do instead of reading books to their children? They sit them in front of the television, right?
Yep.
Watching cartoons all day long, and they're being brainwashed. So because the devil, the spirit of this world that now works in the children of disobedience, is largely at work, the Bible says he deceives the whole world. Many parents today refuse to read to their children and tell them, I don't want to tell them what to believe, this, that, other stuff. Satan has no such prejudice. He will happily, gladly, and fully indoctrinate your children with the lies of the television if you will not read good, wholesome, and godly books to them. Even though on the television you're going to find nothing but unrighteousness, ungodliness. What kind of things are you going to see on television if you would open up that that wicked world box.
Violence, wicked music, pornography, lots of things.
Yeah, lewdness. You're going to see people blaspheming God, using his name in vain.
Exactly.
Yes, if you want perverse children, let them watch SpongeBob so they can be weird like all those characters on that show and wicked like them too. If you want profane children, let them watch The Simpsons so they can speak the filth and the wickedness that those people do out of their own mouths. If you want violent and aggressive children, let them watch Tom and Jerry or Power Rangers or the Transformers so they can learn how they can beat up, hurt, kill, steal, and destroy, just like all of those characters do. The Bible says in the book of Isaiah that God's people, if they wanted to dwell with him, are supposed to shut their eyes from seeing evil and stop their ears from hearing blood. And that goes straight for the television. We're not supposed to be like Lot in Sodom, vexing our righteous souls in seeing and hearing from day to day. And I love how this book, it shows that basically TV is the way of the fool, books are the way of the wise, right?
Yeah.
And what we learned there is that if you want to be a fool, you turn on the television. And we used to watch a lot of TV when we were in the world. We all had our conversation in time past and lust the flesh. But thanks be to God that he showed us that we're supposed to be seeking knowledge. Like Daniel said, he understood by books. And what's the best book to learn by than the Bible? There's a very significant place in the Bible in Psalm 101 where the psalmist says that I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. He says, I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. And so within your house, you're supposed to be having a righteous, godly, upright heart. And he says, I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. And this is exactly what we're not supposed to have inside of our home, the work of them that turn aside. But you know what people are doing today? Instead of reading books and getting knowledge and learning by reading, they're watching TV and having their minds turned into ooze and just totally scrambled up and become foolishness. Because the Bible says the mouth of fools feeds on foolishness. But the book shows us that this young girl, in spite of all of her circumstances, she's in a family where they hate reading, they hate learning, but she loves it.
And to the point that she even took herself to the town library.
As soon as she can learn how to walk,
Exactly.
she starts to move herself across the road to go to the library.
And she reached the point where she could take a trolley and just pick books and read them in 1 week.
And then not only that, but she's living in a very wicked family. You see, when you watch TV, your life becomes degenerate and filthy and vile, because the Bible says that evil communications corrupts good manners. And that's what was happening in Matilda's life. Her family, her father, her mother, and then her brother, they were all becoming more wicked. Like her father was a used car salesman, and he would be a very crooked man.
Exactly. And her mother did nothing else except to go to play
Bingo. So she's a gambler.
6 days in a week.
And these people are just evil people. The son, who is the brother of Matilda, is a wicked boy. But what you learn is that if someone wants to be a truly knowledgeable and useful person in this life, and a godly person, a holy person, a righteous person, you need to shut off, or better, destroy the television, and then pick up and start reading books. Yes, one of the great things about reading is that it opens your mind to the world. Here in the book of Matilda on page 21, it says of her when she was reading in her room, the books transported her into new worlds and introduced her to amazing people who lived exciting lives. She traveled all over the world while sitting in her little room in an English village. And that's why we read books with our daughter, because we want our daughter to be wise, like Matilda became so wise she can even do telepathy and whatever. I don't think that's going to happen. But certainly, when you have wisdom, you're going to be able to do great things in your life. And I'm not going to have my daughter watch some foolishness so that way she can end up and be like everyone else. So she can be different, unique, a peculiar person. In the book, I was particularly struck by this statement made by Mrs. Wormwood, the mother of Matilda, because she's this really ugly woman that uses all this makeup and has these bird claws and everything and thinks that she's an attractive woman, and is so stupid she's never read an entire book her entire life, but she watches TV all day. She said this, A girl should think about making herself look attractive so she can get a good husband later on. Looks is more important than books. And then she said, now look at me, then look at you. She's talking to the school teacher who reads a lot and is a very educated woman. She said, you chose books, I chose looks. And that's a great distinction today. Women who choose books and women who choose looks. The latter, the one who chooses the looks, they're vain. The Bible tells us that beauty is vain and favor is deceitful. But a woman that fears the Lord, she shall be praised. What are you going to choose today? Looks or books? Well, this is our desire for Modest, that she would increase in wisdom and knowledge and grow in favor with God and man. You heard the story right. If you want to raise a Matilda, then you need to turn off the TV and open up a book, preferably together.